Hello and welcome back. In today's video, I'm going to shine the spotlight on Pokemon by unboxing a new Elite Trainer box from the Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, and the expansion, the latest one that just came out, is Twilight Masquerade. Now before I dive in, I just want to give a tiny bit of context of myself with Pokemon. I'm fairly confident when I say that the Pokemon trading card game is probably the reason why I'm into trading card games today. I don't know 100% sure if it's the first trading card game that I ever saw or touched or any of that nature. I might have come across the odd Magic the Gathering card or so at a comic book shop that I had nearby growing up. But I didn't know anyone that even had heard of Magic the Gathering, and my brother and I were too young to, kind of understand it and delve into it on our own without anyone to show us the ropes. Pokemon, on the other hand, took us, like most other kids, by storm, as we and all of our friends in school got swept up in Pokemania. Throughout the years, I've kind of gotten closer to and further from Pokemon, in particular the card game. The video games have kind of been a little bit of a constant as time has gone on for me. But the actual card game kind of came in ebb and flows for me as I got older, depending on who around me was playing, collecting, etc. Pokemon was definitely the first trading card game that I dove into full on with collecting and playing, especially early on with the original sets, base set, jungle, fossil, especially in those early years. And at some point we will look at some of my older cards as well. Now on the channel so far, I haven't really done a video focusing on the Pokemon card game, though we've seen a few cards in some of my card sleeve comparison videos. And I did open one of the latest Trick or Trade boosters, the little 3-card booster packs for Halloween. But as far as something more substantial, more real, I haven't really looked at anything on the channel here. I did film myself opening a booster pack from another set, but I decided instead of uploading that to see if I could get my hands on one of these from the latest set, Scarlet and Violet Twilight Masquerade, so we can walk through this together. So not only is this going to be the first Pokemon item that we'll really open and dig into on the channel together, but this is the first Elite Trainer box that I've ever purchased or even opened. I don't think I've ever gotten one of these as a gift. These kind of came out after I stopped really buying a bunch of Pokemon cards. And then all the times when I came back to the game, I would usually buy a starter deck or some random booster packs to just kind of get going. So I'm really excited to dig into this because it's got a lot of cool stuff that we're going to go ahead and cover here. But I do want to give just a quick disclaimer that because of kind of my ebbing and flowing with the card game, and even with some of the games while I've played them and kept up with them, completing them can sometimes be a challenge with life and all, that I may not be the best at pronouncing some of the names, recognizing some of them, especially anything from a lot newer generations. But I will try my best, and I'm sure I will get better as time goes on the channel here. So please, if you'd be patient with me on that, that would be awesome. If I mispronounce something, kindly just let me know in the comments. You can kind of write it out phonetically how I should be pronouncing something. Also, as I've just kind of collected for personal reasons, I'm not crazy tapped into all the high value cards, the chase cards, the big pulls, the big hits, and things like that. If I open something, you're like, man, this guy's not reacting appropriately, it's probably just because at that moment I'm not really sure what I got my hands on. I did a bit of quick research on some of the different rarities and things like that though. But at the end of the day, I kind of like the Pokemon that I have grown to like. I like a character design, card art, all that sort of stuff is going to be a big part of the ones that I get excited about. Alright, so with all that being said, let's go ahead and jump on into it. It comes with quite a bit of stuff, so we'll just kind of cover it, read the back here as well. So we've got a little bit of flavor here, a little bit of a teaser, a festival of mischief and mystery. Welcome to the land of Kitakami, where people and Pokemon live harmoniously with nature. Folktales abound, but not all is as it seems. Uncover the mystery of the masked legendary Pokemon, Ogerpon, appearing as 4 fearsome types of Terra Pokemon EX. and team up with more newly discovered Pokemon like Blood Moon Ursaluna EX and Sinistra EX. Growing in power, Greninja, Dragapult, and Magcargo dazzle as Terra Pokemon EX. And more Ace Spec cards round out the festivities in the Pokemon TCG Scarlet and Violet Twilight Masquerade expansion. Cool, and here we get a closer look as to what comes in here. The Elite Trainer box includes 9 Pokemon TCG Scarlet and Violet Twilight Masquerade booster packs, 1 full art foil promo card featuring Teal Mask Ogerpon, and here we got a little bit of a preview as to what that will look like. We get 65 card sleeves featuring Ogerpon, 45 Pokemon TCG Energy cards, a player's guide to the Scarlet and Violet Twilight Masquerade expansion, 6 damage counter dice, 1 competition legal coin flip die, 2 plastic condition markers, a collector's box to hold everything with 4 dividers to keep it all organized, and a code for the Pokemon trading card game live. Alright, so let's rip into this. Okay, let's see if I can get this open without much hassle, or if this box is going to kick my butt. Got a little tool here. Alright, so let's take a look at what we've got here. Just slip the outer covering off, and we've got something here already. Whoa, that's pretty cool. Just kind of looking at the slipcase. It's pretty neat on the inside. It's got this print going on in there. Again, this is the first Elite Trainer box that I've opened, so I don't know if they all kind of have something neat printed on the inside there. There's a seam right here. Maybe if it's easy enough to do it without damaging, I'll see if I could kind of pop that open, and it looks like it'll be a nice little vertical print sort of a thing. Alright, we got this nice player's guide here. This is a lot heftier and more substantial. Yeah, I don't know how to describe it, but it feels like an actual real book sort of a thing from the thickness of the cover on the outside. So when it described here a player's guide, I thought it was going to be one of those really cheap, flimsy little like 6-page dealies, but this is very, like, you can kind of hear that. Hopefully tells you about the quality there. But look at that, we just get some great art. We're just going to kind of thumb through this real quick. So it tells us a little bit about the expansion itself here, giving us previews of some of the cards, tells us what's new in the expansion, giving us some kind of lore and background on some specific cards here, telling us about some of the more newly discovered Pokemon as well, tells us about the return of Ace Spec cards. Oh, very cool. It also gives us some combos and strategies to try. So that's always super cool when a trading card game gives you something to kind of not just tell you, hey, here's the abilities or here's things that exist, but gives you a little bit of guidance to help get on your feet with it. Alright, and here we've got a full card list, and like, I'm a sucker for when you get in a set some sort of like a checklist or a card list or something like that. I don't know why, but I love having that. Sometimes I get a little precious about it. I don't actually mark it on the thing itself, but I just like having something printed that shows what I've got to look forward to. Maybe it's because as a kid, it gave me a lot of just kind of excitement for, you know, what could be. Maybe the reason I like it as an adult is because it gives you something physical to kind of, you know, focus your attention on. I mean, you've got physical cards in your hand, and while we've got the internet at our fingertips as well, this kind of keeps you in that physical analog headspace. And these are cool. So here's something that was definitely after my real Die Hard days. These double star cards, these double rares, I think is what they were calling them, or at least that's what makes sense to me. But you can see the art. I'm really excited. This is awesome because I'm getting really excited about the art, and some of these cards definitely way more artistic liberty, and you get a lot of different layout and expression and stuff like that with the newer sets compared to the original sets. But you definitely got to respect creativity that was shown with the original layouts that were conform to just the small box, but now you got these full, almost like the full card type of art stuff. it's super exciting to me. So impressive to just kind of see, you know, all that stuff there. And we've even got a little list of the promo cards too. That's very cool. And then that's it. Nice little, I guess this is the Blood Moon Ursaluna. But yeah, so here is the player's guide. Pretty neat. Very impressed again with the quality here. Very thick covers. And yeah, there's like a 45-page thing here. So very cool. Something substantial that's not just going to get tore up immediately. Let's look at the box itself now. So very cool with just that foil printing on the cover here. Here's some stuff rattling around, getting that Lego vibe. And let's just pull this off. There we go. So we got this nice little divider here, keeps things where they should be, and right away, boom, we got some counter dice. This one here has an EX emblem on it, and we've got the other damage counters here. This is great. I don't know if you've played long enough or if you remember, but I think the original like decks that you would buy and stuff had these little damage counters that were kind of like nowadays I guess they're kind of like vase filler or something of that nature. They're like these little round polished stones. But I do know that when I started getting back into Pokemon and buying some of the decks, it would come with the little punch out cardboard counters. And while it's nice to have those, always appreciate a good damage counter. Definitely not the same as kind of the heft and the feel of those little bead things. So I'm pretty pumped to see that we get something more substantial here that you can play with. I'm definitely gonna need to learn how to use this EX counter. Very cool. Like, oh, look at this little detail, but I'm a sucker for the little detail on the plastic clamshell thing itself. It's got, I don't know if you could see it here with the light, a little Pokemon logo imprinted. Again, I know it's a tiny little detail, but it's the type of detail that I like. All right, we got some more plastic goodies in here. We got the counters. All right, it looks like here we've got a burn counter or a burn marker. Nice. And then this one is going to be a poison counter, a poison marker. So some condition markers here or some status markers. I like that you can, I don't know if you could see this, but it's recessed here, so there's some like dimension. You can kind of see how my finger goes in there. Definitely feels a little bit more quality than just like the little cardboard punch out markers that you would get before. This kind of reminds me of like the enamel pens where you have the raised edges and there's these little recessed sections. I'm pretty excited about them. So we're just gonna slide this out. This little doohickey is pretty neat too. It's got a cool little print on it. Matches the artwork on the box there, and like you kind of fold it flat like that. All right, starting here, we've got our dividers. So these are like a thick cardstock, but it's got a nice foil printing to it here, and it's got two different things. On this side, you got kind of like the full art scenario going on, and then on this side, you've got a more zoomed in version of the art, and we get 4 of these here. Very nice to have dividers right from the get-go here. Now we've got a nice little stack of energy cards, and here is our promo card, Teal Mask Ogerpon, full art with a foil. We've got Pokemon Trading Card Game Live redemption card here. We've got the sleeves. We've got our 9 booster packs right here. So let's go ahead and open up our Teal Mask Ogerpon here. Get a good look at him here first. Teal Mask Ogerpon is a basic Pokemon with an HP of 110. It is a grass type Pokemon with a couple of attacks here. Mountain Stroll for 1 colorless energy that lets you search your deck for up to 2 basic energy cards, reveal them, put them into your hand, then shuffle your deck. Second attack is 1 grass energy, and 1 colorless. Ogre Comeback, it does 20 plus damage. The attack does 20 more damage for each of your opponent's benched Pokemon. It's weak to fire, doesn't have any resistance with a retreat cost of 1. And let's just take a look at the Pokedex entry here. This mischief-loving Pokemon is full of curiosity. It battles by drawing out the type-based energy contained within its mask. Very good looking card, very nice looking card. Alright, so I've got one of these sealable Dragon Shield Perfect Fit sleeves that we've seen in one of my previous videos. I think I'll put a card for that there if you want to see a little bit more about how these work and how they look. Alright, so we've got that, and we might as well get it in a second sleeve here. So let's open up the sleeves that come with this set. So we've got the sleeve it's got a matte front here, so it's a non-glossy front, and the back itself isn't really glossy either. It's kind of like a more matted finish, but it's got this like hollow foil type of metallic shine to it as well, so very nice. It actually feels nice and thick as well. Let's go ahead and just pop this in there. This looks like it's going to be a little bit of a tight fit with the inner sleeve that I've got on there currently. Try to work that through. Maybe it's just because they're kind of new. I'm just going to kind of hold it from one side and just nudge that in. Okay, so maybe it'll loosen up a little bit here in some time, but for now you can see I couldn't quite get it all the way down. But for now, we're going to go ahead and leave him like this. You know what, and just for kicks, let's try sleeving one of these energies without doing a double sleeve to see if it's any easier. Just take a quick look at these energy cards as well. So boom, we just have a bunch of energies, all different types here. Let's sleeve up a basic energy here. This fits a lot better without the double sleeve. Maybe it's the type of inner sleeve that I'm using. It's a little bit thicker because it's the sealable kind. Let me know in the comments if you've used these sleeves that come with this box before, and if they're a little bit of a hassle anytime you double sleeve, or maybe if it's just this particular one that's a little bit thicker. Okay, I changed my setup here a little bit to open the booster packs, but before I do that, I just got curious. I want to try one more of these sleeves, but I'm going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to go ahead and kind of open it up a little bit here just in case it was stuck together at the bottom. And then I've also got a card sleeved with a different type, a non-sealable inner sleeve, just to see how that goes. And it is a little bit snug toward the bottom there, but it does sit where it should compared to the sealable one. So just something to keep in mind if you're using sealable sleeves versus non-sealable sleeves, or again, just no inner sleeve at all. Alright, so let's go ahead and rip into these packs then. So let's see what we've got inside this booster of Scarlet and Violet Twilight Masquerade. Now again, I don't necessarily know what the pack trick is to have the dramatic effect when opening the boosters, so forgive me on that, but hopefully we'll figure it out as we go along. So we've just got our Pokemon Trading Card Game Live card, and I'm just going to go ahead and go through this one front to back, and we'll see what we've got. So here we've got a Tadbulb, Slugma, Phantump, Applin, Enhanced Hammer, Glalie, Kilowattrel, Ambipom, Chimchar. Ooh, nice. And we've got a Dragapult EX, and then our basic fire energy. So as I like to do here, let's take a closer look at the cards that we pulled. Tadbulb is a basic Pokemon electric type with 50 HP, and it's got 2 simple attacks, Tackle and Electro Ball for 1 colorless, and an electric and colorless for dealing 10 and 20 damage respectively. Weakness to fighting type, no resistance, retreat cost of 1. Pokedex entry for Tadbulb breeds. It floats using electricity stored in its body. When thunderclouds are around, Tadbulb will float higher off the ground, and this is a common. And we've got a basic fire type with Slugma, 80 HP. This is a common also with 1 attack, Hot Magma for 1 colorless energy and 1 fire, Dealing 20 damage, your opponent's active Pokemon is now burned, weakness to water, and a retreat cost of 3. Pokedex entry reads, "It's said that in ancient times, when volcanoes were more active, there were many more Slugma than there are now." We've got a basic grass type Phantump with 70 HP. This is a common with a single attack, Leech Seed for 1 grass and 1 colorless energy, dealing 20 damage. That also allows you to heal 20 damage from this Pokemon. Weakness to fire, retreat cost of 2, and the Pokedex entry reads, "This Pokemon came to be when the spirit of a deceased child possessed the tree stump. It now wanders in the forest, searching for friends." I'm really excited to start going through some more Pokemon cards because the Pokedex entries can sometimes reveal these spooky and dark mysteries and things of that nature. Basic Pokemon here in Applin at 40 HP. This is a dragon type. It's got 2 attacks. One is a colorless energy. To find a friend, search your deck for a Pokemon, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle your deck. And the second attack costs 1 grass and 1 fire, rolling tackle for 30. No weakness, no resistance, retreat cost of 1. This is a common. And the Pokedex entry reads, "Applin lives inside of an apple. When an applin is separated from its apple, its body loses moisture and the Pokemon grows weak." We've got an item. This is a trainer card called Enhanced Hammer, and it lets you discard a special energy from one of your opponent's Pokemon. This one is an uncommon. Gladly, this is a stage 1 Pokemon. It's got 120 HP. This is a water type. It's got 2 attacks. The first one with 1 water energy. Damage beat. This attack does 20 damage for each damage counter on your opponent's active Pokemon. The second costs 1 water and 2 colorless energy for Crazy Headbutt. 140 damage. Discard an energy from this Pokemon. It's got a weakness to steel type, no resistance, and a retreat cost of 2. Glalie is an uncommon, and the Pokedex entry reads, "It prevents prey from escaping by instantaneously freezing moisture in the air." It's another stage 1 Pokemon. Kilowattrel, 120 HP, electric type. It's got 2 attacks, 1 colorless, wind power charge for 10 damage. During your next turn, attacks used by this Pokemon do 120 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon before applying weakness and resistance. Okay, so you do a power wind charge for 10, and then if you do a strong volt, you're gonna end up getting a 220 damage attack. That's pretty nuts. Strong Volt costs 1 electric and 1 colorless, and you have to discard an energy from the Pokemon. Kilowattrel also has a weakness to electric and a resistance to fighting, which reduces your damage by 30. Retreat cost of 1. Kilowattrel is an uncommon, and the Pokedex entry reads, "It uses its throat sac to store electricity generated by its wings. There's hardly any oil in its feathers, so it's a poor swimmer." This is a reverse holo. It's an uncommon. It's a stage 1 Pokemon. Ambipom or Ambipom. Not sure on the exact pronunciation. 120 HP. This is a colorless Pokemon with an ability, Wicked Tail. When you play this Pokemon from your hand to evolve one of your Pokemon during your turn, you may flip 2 coins. For each heads, choose a random card from your opponent's hand. Your opponent reveals those cards and shuffles them into their deck. Then you've got an attack for 3 colorless, Gentle Slap, 100 damage. Just a gentle 100 damage attack, no big whoop. It's got a weakness to a fighting type, no resistance, and a retreat cost of 1. This card is uncommon, and the Pokedex entry at the bottom reads, "Split into 2. The tails are so adept at handling and doing things that Ambipom rarely uses its hands." And let's just take a look at the holo foil here. Very cool. I love how they've done the reverse holos with all the little symbols and stuff and designs in there too. Our next card is another reverse holo. This one's a common. It's a basic Pokemon, Chimchar, 60 HP, fire type with a single attack, fire breathing for 1 fire and 1 colorless energy. Does 20 damage plus flip a coin. If heads, it does 20 more damage. Weakness to water, no resistance, retreat cost of 1. And the Pokedex entry reads, "Its fiery rear end is made by gas." Its fiery rear end is fueled by gas made in its belly. Even rain can't extinguish the fire. I feel like there's a very good joke there depending on what you have eaten. But cool, we get the little fire type symbols there in the reverse holo. Very cool. Finally, we've got our Stage 2 Evolution Pokemon, Dragapult EX, weighing in at a hefty 320 HP, Dragon type. Also, it's got a little classification there of Terra, and it looks like that gives us some additional stuff there. As long as this Pokemon is on your bench, prevent all damage done to this Pokemon by attacks, both yours and your opponent's. Very nice. We've got a couple of attacks. Jet Headbutt for a single colorless energy, 70 damage. And then we've got Phantom Dive, 1 fire and 1 psychic energy for 200 damage. Put 6 damage counters on your opponent's bench Pokemon in any way you'd like. Dragapult EX has no weaknesses, no resistances, and a retreat cost of only 1. And if, like me, you're not too familiar with the EX rule, you've got it down here. When your Pokemon EX is knocked out, your opponent draws 2 prize cards. But this is our first 2-star rarity card here, double star rarity. I'm sure someone's yelling at their screen right now saying it's not called double star, you're crazy. This looks pretty cool. It's like we've got 2 different types of foil printing on this, or holographic and foil printing. We've got this more like really shiny metallic going on with the little, looks like crystals or ice crystals and stuff like that, as well as the eyes and the gems on the Pokemon themselves in the art and then on the border. But then inside the card body, it's like a matted golden metallic finish too, and it's kind of cool. It's kind of transparent back there behind the attacks and stuff, so that's pretty neat. I feel like I'm really showing my age here by getting surprised at the HPs and damages that these can deal, but I think I'll get used to that, some of the newer cards that we open. Alright, so that was booster pack number 1. Alright, on to booster number 2. On this one, we've got, I think this is that Blood Moon Ursaluna EX. Kind of funny that on the first booster, we had Dragapult on there, and we pulled Dragapult from there. So, pretty neat. Maybe we'll pull that Ursaluna here. Okay, and based off the last one, I think the energy is going to be on the back, so we're just going to move that over, give it a flip. Great, and we've got our basic electric energy, Chimecho, another Chimchar, Whirlipede, Crawdaunt, accompanying Flute, Boomerang Energy, Slurpuff, Luxio. Ooh, nice. And we got this full art Eevee here. Let's set that one aside there. And Alakazam. Very cool. So let's take a closer look at these ones now. Chimecho, a basic psychic type at 70 HP. This is a common, and for 1 psychic energy you can use Hyper Voice, 20 damage, or for 2 colorless energy you can use Homeward Chime. Shuffle 1 of your bench Pokemon and all attached cards into your deck. Weakness against dark, resistance against fighting, retreat cost of 1, and the Pokedex entry reads, it cries echo inside its hollow body to emerge as beautiful notes for startling and repelling foes. And we've got our Chimchar and my dog in the background there. We saw Chimchar in a reverse holo before. So we've got a common dark type Pokemon, stage 1 evolution, Whirlipede, 100 HP. For 1 dark energy, you could use Poison Ring. Your opponent's active Pokemon is now poisoned. During your opponent's next turn, the defending Pokemon can't retreat. Or for 1 dark and 2 colorless, you can use Spinning Attack for 60 damage. Weakness against fighting, no resistance, retreat cost of 3, and the Pokedex entry that reads, this Pokemon spins itself rapidly and charges into its opponents. Its top speed is just over 60 miles per hour. A common water type Pokemon, stage 1 evolution, Crawdaunt, 130 HP. For 1 water and 1 colorless energy, you can use Snip Snip, dealing 40 damage. Flip 2 coins for each heads, discard the top card of your opponent's deck. And for 2 water and 1 colorless, you can use Rampaging Hammer for 180 damage. During your next turn, this Pokemon can't attack. Weakness to electric type, no resistance, retreat cost of 3. Pokedex entry reads, a rough customer that wildly flails its giant claws. It is said to be extremely hard to raise. One might say it's daunting. Ha ha ha. Uncommon, this is a trainer card, an item, accompanying Flute. Reveal the top 5 cards of your opponent's deck. You may choose any number of basic Pokemon you find there and put those Pokemon onto their bench. Your opponent shuffles the other cards back into their deck. So nice way to fill their bench in case you want to try to prevent them from getting out their winning conditions. So we've got an uncommon, a special energy, Boomerang Energy, which is colorless. As long as this card is attached to a Pokemon, it provides colorless energy. If this card is discarded by an effect of an attack used by the Pokemon this card is attached to, attach this card from your discard pile to that Pokemon after attacking. So this would be really good with some of the attacks that we saw earlier that force you to discard. Next, we've got an uncommon psychic type Pokemon, stage 1 evolution, Slurpuff, 120 HP. For 1 psychic and 1 colorless energy, you can use Slurp Slurp, which does 90 damage. Flip 2 coins and it does 90 for each heads. If both of them are tails, your opponent's active Pokemon is now confused. Slurpuff's got a weakness to Steel, no resistance, retreat cost of 2, and the Pokedex entry reads, by taking in a person's scent, it can sniff out their mental and physical condition. It's hoped that this skill will have many medical applications. Reverse Hollow here, common electric type Luxio, 90 HP, single attack, big bite for 2 electric energy dealing 60 damage, and during your opponent's next turn the defending Pokemon can't retreat. Weakness to fighting, no resistance, retreat cost of 1. Pokedex entry reads, by gathering their tails together, they collectively generate powerful electricity from their claws. And let's just take a look at the reverse hollow printing here. Now we've got a rare psychic type here, stage 2 evolution, Alakazam at 140 HP. And for 1 psychic energy, you could either use Strange Hacking. Your opponent's active Pokemon is now confused. You may move any number of damage counters from your opponent's Pokemon to their other Pokemon in any way you'd like. Or you could use Psychic, which does 10 damage plus 50 more damage for each energy attached to your opponent's active Pokemon. It's got a weakness to Dark type, resistance to fighting, retreat cost of 1, and we've got our Pokedex entry which reads, it has an incredibly high level of intelligence. Some say that Alakazam remembers everything that ever happens to it, from birth till death. And let's take a look at the hollow print here. Finally, we've got our Gold Star Rare Basic Pokemon, Eevee, 50 HP, colorless type. For 1 colorless, you have Ascension, which lets you search your deck for a card that evolves from this Pokemon and put it onto this Pokemon to evolve it, then shuffle your deck. Or for 3 colorless energy, you've got Quick Attack, which does 20 plus you flip a coin, and if heads, it does 20 more damage. Weakness to fighting, no resistance, retreat cost of 1. Pokedex entry for Eevee reads, its genetic code is irregular. It may mutate if it's exposed to radiation from elemental stones. But just look at the beautiful art here of Eevee. Very cool. I don't know that I'd ever gotten this Gold Star rare before, but look at that. So we're gonna go ahead and sleeve these foils up. Alright, so that's pack 2 in the books. It's time for pack number 3. Let's go ahead and open this one up. This one has Ogerpon on the front. We didn't get Ursaluna in the last one, but since we did get Dragapult on the first, let's see if we get back to, maybe it's like a every other one, you'll get the one that's on the actual booster. Let's find out. Let's get that energy on the front, flip it. We've got a basic Dark Energy, another Applin, Swirlix, Litwick, Poochyena, another Enhanced Hammer, another Glalie, another Kilowattrel, Ogre's Mask, Aron, or Aron, I'm not entirely sure how to pronounce that one, a Carmine here. Alright, so now let's take a closer look at the cards and see their abilities as well as their Pokedex entries. We've got our basic Dark Energy. We've got an Applin that we got in a pack before. Common Psychic type Swirlix, basic Pokemon, 50 HP with the ability Festival Lead. If Festival Grounds is in play, this Pokemon may use an attack it has twice. If the first attack knocks out your opponent's active Pokemon, you may attack again after your opponent chooses a new active Pokemon. For a single Psychic Energy, you can use Sneaky Placement, put 2 damage counters on one of your opponent's Pokemon. It's got weakness to Steel, no resistance, and a retreat cost of 1 colorless energy. Pokedex entry reads, it eats its own weight in sugar every day. If it doesn't get enough sugar, it becomes incredibly grumpy. Yeah, sounds about right. Common fire type Pokemon, basic Litwick, 60 HP. For 1 fire energy, you can use Call for Family. Search your deck for a basic Pokemon and put it into your bench, then shuffle your deck. For 1 fire and 1 colorless, you have Live Coal, which deals 20 damage. Weakness to water, resistance to nothing. Retreat cost of 1 Pokedex entry reads, while shining a light and pretending to be a guide, it leeches off the life force of any who follow it. Again, one of those little, hey, look how cute it is Pokemon, but you know, it's draining your life force, so something to keep in mind next time you're shopping for candles, I guess. We've got a common basic Pokemon, Dark type Poochyena, 70 HP. For 1 dark energy, you have Continuous Steps. It does 10 damage, and you flip a coin until you get tails. It does 10 for each heads. And for 1 dark energy and 1 colorless energy, you have Darkness Fang for 20 damage. Weakness to grass type, no resistance, retreat cost of 1 Pokedex entry that reads, Poochyena pursue their prey in packs. Once their prey is exhausted, the pack finishes it off, but sometimes the prey retaliates and the pack flees. What a cute little hunter. So we've got an uncommon item trainer card, Enhanced Hammer, which we pulled previously. We've got another Glalie here. We've got another Kilowattrel, but we've got an uncommon trainer card. This is an item, Ogre's Mask. Choose a Pokemon EX in your discard pile that has Ogerpon in its name, and switch it with one of your Pokemon EX in play that has Ogerpon in its name. Any attached cards, damage counters, special conditions, turns in play, and any other effects remain on the new Pokemon. Let's just take a closer look at the reverse holo on this. A common steel type basic Pokemon, Aron, but not Aaron. 70 HP. For a single steel energy, it can use double edge, 20 damage, and it also does 10 damage to itself. Weakness to fire and resistance to grass, reducing damage by 30. Retreat cost of 2 Pokedex entry that reads, it eats iron ore and sometimes railroad tracks to build up the steel armor that protects its body. And here's our closer look at the steel reverse holo effect. And finally, we've got our double silver star rarity trainer supporter card, Carmine. I think might refer to this double silver or platinum star. Ultra rare though. The card says, if you go first, you may use this card during your first turn. Discard your hand and draw 5 cards. Yeah, and you can actually see how the rarity number on it is higher than the number of cards in the set. So this is one of those more rare type. And let's just take a look at the holo treatment on that. Very nice. It's like a full art card. Alright, so pack number 4. I'm not sure what this guy's name is. Some of you might be yelling at me saying, how could you not know? You said you like Pokemon. And I do, but I don't know everything. And, you know, knowing Pokemon isn't the only thing. Put the energy. Alright, let's see what we've got here. Basic Dark Energy, Heliolisk, Ducklet, Emolga, Hisuian Growlithe, and sorry for butchered pronunciation, Leafeon, Swanna, Glimora, Applin, Sandslash. Hey, and look at that. We got the matching one from the booster pack, Sinistra EX. I like it when it matches. So let's take a closer look like we do. Dark Energy, Common Electric type Stage 1 Evolution, Heliolisk, 100 HP, single electric energy for Wild Charge, dealing 70 damage, and it deals 20 to itself. Weakness to fighting, no resistance. Retreat cost of 1 Pokedex entry that reads, a now vanished desert culture treasured these Pokemon. Appropriately, when Heliolisk came to the Galar region, treasure came with them. And we've got a common colorless Pokemon, basic Ducklet, 60 HP. For 1 colorless, double draw to draw 2 cards, 2 colorless. You have Razor Wing, dealing 20 damage, weakness to electric, resistance of -30 to fighting, retreat cost of 1, and a Pokedex entry that reads, it strengthens its body by diving into the depths of ponds, swimming around while looking for bog moss to eat. Common electric type basic Emolga, 60 HP, single colorless energy to do Sky Skywave 10 damage. It also does 10 damage to each bench Pokemon, including both yours and your opponent's, and you don't apply a weakness and resistance for the bench Pokemon. Emolga has a weakness of fighting, no resistance, and no retreat cost. Pokedex entry for Emolga reads: as Emolga flutters through the air, it crackles with electricity. This Pokemon is cute, but can cause a lot of trouble. We've got a common fighting type basic Pokemon, Hisuian Growlithe. I'm sorry about the pronunciation. 80 HP. For no attack cost, you can use Blazing Destruction, which discards a stadium in play, or for 1 fighting and 1 colorless, you could use Takedown, dealing 40 damage, and it deals 10 damage to itself. Weakness to grass, no resistance, retreat cost of 2. Pokedex entry reads: they patrol their territory in pairs. I believe the igneous rock components of the fur in this species are the results of volcanic activity in its habitat. We've got an uncommon grass type stage 1 evolution, Leafeon, at 120 HP. For 1 colorless energy, you have Leaflet Blessings. Attach basic grass energy from your hand to 1 of your bench Pokemon. If you do, heal all damage from that Pokemon. Solar Beam for 1 grass and 1 colorless energy, dealing 70 damage. Weakness to fire, no resistance, retreat cost of 1. Pokedex entry that reads: the younger they are, the more they smell like fresh grass. With age, their fragrance takes on the odor of fallen leaves. We have an uncommon colorless Pokemon, stage 1 evolution, Swanna, at 110 HP. 1 colorless energy for fighting wings, which deals 20 damage, plus if your opponent's active Pokemon is a Pokemon EX or V, this attack does an additional 90 damage. 2 colorless to do Gust for 70 damage. Weakness to electric, resistance to fighting of -30, retreat cost of 1, and the Pokedex entry for Swanna reads: it's said that many artists have taken inspiration from the sight of a Swanna performing a beautiful dance in the light of dawn. Next, we've got an uncommon fighting type here, stage 1 evolution, Glamora, at 130 HP. 1 colorless to deal stun, poison. Flip a coin. If heads, your opponent's active Pokemon is now paralyzed and poisoned. For 1 fighting, you can do Venoshock for 30 damage, plus if your opponent's active Pokemon is poisoned, this attack does 100 more damage. Weak against grass, no resistance, retreat cost of 3. Pokedex entry reads: Glamora's petals are made of crystallized poison energy. It has recently become evident that these petals resemble Terra Jewels. I like the art on this one. It's giving me kind of that vibe of a Black Lotus in Magic. We've got a common grass type basic Applin. This is a different Applin than the one that we saw before because it's grass type. It's our reverse hollow, and for a single grass energy it does tumbling attack, 10 damage, plus flip a coin. If heads, it does 20 more damage. It's weak against fire, no resistance, retreat cost of 1. I think that's the same Pokedex entry as the other one that we saw. Yep, same Pokedex entry, so different type, different attacks, different art, but same entry there. Just a look at the reverse hollow. Now we've got an uncommon fighting type, stage 1 evolution, Sandslash, at 120 HP. This is also a reverse hollow, and we've got 2 attacks. 1 colorless for Dig Claws, which does 30 damage. 1 fighting and 1 colorless for Earthquake, dealing 120 damage. This attack also does 10 damage to each of your bench Pokemon. Weak against grass, no resistance, and a retreat cost of 1. Pokedex entry for Sandslash reads: the spikes on its body are made up of its hardened hide. It rolls up and attacks foes with its spikes. And just a closer look at that reverse hollow. And finally, we've got our double black star rare here, Sinistra EX, a grass type Pokemon, stage 1 evolution, 240 HP, 1 colorless to use Rebrew. Put 2 damage counters on 1 of your opponent's Pokemon for each basic grass energy card in your discard pile. Then shuffle those energy cards back into your deck. Pretty handy, lets you get your energy back. And then for 1 grass and 1 colorless, you have Matcha Splash, 120 damage, heal 30 from each of your Pokemon. Sinistra EX is weak against fire, no resistance, retreat cost of 1. There's no Pokedex entry on this one, but let's take a look at the foil. Alright, we've got these sleeved up here now. Pack 4 in the books. think I'm also gonna, after I kind of open all these, take a look online and see what I can find as far as card values, just to kind of get that perspective of them. And of course, yeah, like I said, comment, let me know if you've pulled anything cool from these, or, you know, if you got any of the boosters or the Elite Trainer box or anything from Twilight Masquerade. I'd be interested to kind of hear that. Pack 5, let's open this up. This one had Ursaluna on the front of the package, so let's see if we get lucky on that one right there. We've got our basic grass, a Vulpix, Girafarig, Feroki, Revavroom, Ogre's Mask, Sunflora, Apom, Jinx, a Hisuian Arcanine. Closer look at these, we've got our Grass Energy, Common Fire type basic Pokemon Vulpix, 70 HP, 2 Fire Energy for live cold, dealing 40 damage, weakness to water, resistance to nothing, retreat cost of 1, and the Pokedex entry that reads, as its body grows larger, its 6 tails become more beautiful with a more luxurious coat of fur. So we've got a common colorless basic Pokemon Eevee, 50 HP, and this actually has the same exact attacks as the full art one, and the same Pokedex entry, so this is just the regular printing of the Eevee card. Common Psychic type basic Pokemon Girafarig, 100 HP, single attack for 1 colorless energy, dealing 30 damage, dual headbutt. It also does 10 damage to one of your bench Pokemon. Weakness to dark type and a resistance of -30 to fighting, retreat cost of 1. The Pokedex entry here reads, Girafarig's tail has a small head. It instinctively bites at any foe that approaches the Pokemon from behind. So we've got a common water type basic Pokemon Feroki at 60 HP. It only needs 1 water energy for both of its attacks. Flock lets you search your deck for up to 2 Feroki and put them into your bench, then shuffle your deck or flop, dealing 10 damage. Weakness to electric, resistance to nothing, retreat cost of 1. Pokedex entry reads, it secretes flexible bubbles from its chest and back. The bubbles reduce the damage it would otherwise take when attacked. Also like the art style here, kind of looks like a little clay dude. So we've got an uncommon steel type, stage 1 evolution Revavroom at 140 HP, 1 colorless energy for rally back, 30 damage plus. If any of your Pokemon were knocked out by damage from an attack during your opponent's last turn, this attack does 90 more damage. For 1 steel and 2 colorless, you can do running charge, which does 100 damage times, and what you do there is flip a coin till you get tails. This attack does 100 damage for each heads. Weakness to fire, resistance to grass -30, retreat cost of 2. Pokedex entry reads, Revavroom viciously threatens others with the sound of its exhaust. It sticks out its tongue from its cylindrical mouth and sprays toxic fluids. We've got an uncommon item trainer. This is Ogre's Mask, which we pulled before in a reverse holo. This is just a regular. And we've got an uncommon grass type, stage 1 evolution Flora. 1 grass energy lets you use redirected sunlight, 60 damage times. It does 60 for each fire energy attached to all of your opponent's Pokemon. 1 grass and 1 colorless lets you use Mega Drain, dealing 50 damage and allowing you to heal 30 damage from this Pokemon. It's got a weakness to fire, no resistance, and a retreat cost of 1. Pokedex entry reads, since it converts sunlight into energy, it's always looking in the direction of the sun. We've got our first reverse holo here. This is a common basic Pokemon, colorless Apom, 60 HP, colorless energy to do hang down for 10 damage, or 2 colorless to do playful kick for 20 damage. Weakness to fighting and no resistance, retreat cost of 1. Pokedex entry reads, its tail moves with greater dexterity than its hands. Making deft use of its tail, Apom lives high among the treetops. And here is that reverse holo. Now we've got another common reverse holo. We got a water type basic Pokemon Jinx at 90 HP. For 1 colorless energy, you can do Inviting Kiss. Search your deck for a basic Pokemon and put it onto your bench. Then shuffle your deck. If you put any Pokemon onto your bench this way, move an energy card from this Pokemon to the new bench Pokemon. For 1 water energy, you can use Icy Snow, dealing 30 damage. Jinx is weak to steel, no resistance, and retreat cost of 1. Pokedex entry reads, in certain parts of Galar, Jinx was once feared and worshipped as the Queen of Ice. And here is just a closer look at the reverse holo. Finally, we've got our rare fighting type Hisuian Arcanine, which is a stage 1 evolution. Probably butchering the first part of the name there. 130 HP with a no cost attack for Proud Fangs. 30 plus damage. If your bench Pokemon have any damage counters on them, this attack does 90 more damage. And for 2 fighting and 1 colorless, you can use Searing Flame, 90 damage. Your opponent's active Pokemon is now burned. Weakness to grass, no resistance, retreat cost of 2. Let's read that Pokedex entry. Snaps at its foes with fangs cloaked in blazing flame. Despite its bulk, it deftly feints every which way, leading opponents on a deceptively merry chase as it all but dances around them. And then here's just the overall hollow printing of it. Let's get going on pack 6. Basic fighting energy. We got a Monferno, Nosepass, Jinx, Floette, Snorlax, Morpeko, Carmine, Poltergeist, Farigiraf, and a Hollow Infernape. So with our closer look, common fire type Monferno, stage 1 evolution Pokemon. There is a helicopter. Are there any helicopter Pokemon? I know we have kind of like inanimate objects and stuff, so get on that. 1 fire and 1 colorless to do Chop for 40 damage, 2 fire, 1 colorless for Heat Blow, 80 damage, discarding 1 energy card from this Pokemon. Weak against water, resistance to nothing, retreat cost of 1. Pokedex entry reads, it skillfully controls the intensity of the fire on its tail to keep its foes at an ideal distance. We've got a common fighting type basic Pokemon Nosepass, and for 3 colorless it can do Power Rush for 60 damage, flip a coin. If tails during your next turn, this Pokemon can't attack. Weak against grass, resistant to nothing, 3 to retreat. Pokedex entry that reads, when endangered it may protect itself by increasing its magnetism and drawing nearby iron objects to its body. Now we've got our common water type basic Pokemon Jinx, which we just pulled as a reverse holo in the previous pack. And we've got a common psychic type stage 1 evolution Pokemon Floette. 1 colorless lets you do minor errand running, search your deck for up to 3 basic energy cards, reveal them and put them into your hand, then shuffle your deck. 1 psychic and 1 colorless, spinning attack, 40 damage, weak against steel, no resistance, retreat cost of 1 colorless, and the Pokedex entry reads, this Pokemon uses red wavelengths of light to pour its own energy into flowers and draw forth their latent potential. Now we've got an uncommon colorless basic Pokemon Snorlax at 160 HP for 1 colorless, but first food. Attach an energy card from your hand to this Pokemon. If you do, heal 60 damage from this Pokemon. And for 5 colorless, you've got Heavy Impact, 160 damage. Weak against fighting, no resistance, retreat cost of 4. Pokedex entry for Snorlax reads, its stomach's digestive juices can dissolve any kind of poison. Eating things off the ground doesn't bother it at all. Next, we've got an uncommon electric type basic Pokemon, Morpeko, with the ability Snack Seek. During your turn, you may look at the top card of your deck. You may discard that card. For 1 electric energy, Pick and Stick. Attach 2 basic energy cards from your discard pile to your Pokemon in any way you'd like. Weak against fighting, no resistance, retreat cost of 1. A Pokedex entry that reads, it has a small stomach. If it isn't constantly eating seeds it keeps in its pockets, it will get hungry immediately. We've got an uncommon trainer supporter card, Carmine, and we pulled this in a ultra rare holo foil version previously. Now we've got a common grass type basic Pokemon, Poltergeist, single grass energy, T-Server. Put a basic grass energy card from your discard pile into your hand, and also for a single grass energy, surprise attack, 30 damage. Flip a coin. If tails, this attack does nothing. Weak against fire with no resistance and a retreat cost of 1. Pokedex entry reads, Poltergeist looks like a regional form of Sinistea, but it was recently discovered that the 2 Pokemon are entirely unrelated. And this is a reverse holo. We've got an uncommon psychic type stage 1 evolution Faradraff, 140 HP, 2 colorless, 1 Dureful Rumble, does 40 damage multiplied for each of your stage 1 Pokemon in play. And for 2 colorless and 1 psychic energy, it does Eerie Wave, 80 damage. Your opponent's active Pokemon is now confused. It's weak against dark Pokemon. It's weak against dark type Pokemon, resistant to fighting, -30, retreat cost of 2, and the Pokedex entry reads, the hardened head of the tail protects the head of the main body as Faradraff whips its long neck around to headbutt enemies. And this is our reverse holo as well. And finally, our rare holographic fire type stage 2 evolution Pokemon Infernape at 140 HP has the ability Pyro Dance. Once during your turn, you may attach a basic fire energy card, a basic fighting type energy card, or one of each from your hand to your Pokemon in any way you like. For 2 fire and 1 colorless, it can use Scorching Fire for 200 damage. Discard an energy card from this Pokemon. Weak against water, no resistance, retreat cost of 1, Pokedex entry that reads, its crown of fire is indicative of its fiery nature. It is beaten by none in terms of quickness. And a closer look at just the foil printing there. Three more packs to go here. So let's see what we've got. Basic electric energy. We've got a Corphish, Grookey, Helioptile, Finizen, Lucky Helmet, Mightyena, another Revavroom, Illumise, Timber, Holo, Okidogi. So for a closer look, basic lightning energy, we've got a common water type basic Pokemon Corphish at 80 HP, 2 water, and a colorless for Vice Grip, dealing 60 damage, weak against electric, no resistance, retreat cost of 2 with a Pokedex entry that reads, it can live in impure water where it doesn't need to compete with other water Pokemon for food, so its numbers have steadily increased. We've got a common grass type basic Pokemon Grookey with 70 HP, grass energy for Smash Kick dealing 10 damage, or 2 grass for Branch Poke dealing 30, weak against fire, no resistance, retreat cost of 1, Pokedex entry that reads, when it uses its special stick to strike up a beat, the sound waves produced carry revitalizing energy to the plants and flowers in the area. Common electric type basic Pokemon Helioptile, 1 colorless to collect, allowing you to draw 1 card, electric energy to deal static shock, electric energy for static shock, dealing 10 damage. It's weak against fighting, no resistance, retreat cost of 1 with a Pokedex entry that reads, when spread, the frills on its head act like solar panels, gathering the power behind this Pokemon's electric moves. We've got a common water type basic Pokemon Finizen, 70 HP, 1 water to do Aqua Slash, 30 damage. During your next turn, this Pokemon can't attack. Weak against electric, no resistance, retreat cost of 1, with a Pokedex entry that reads, its water ring is made from seaweed mixed with a sticky fluid that Finizen secretes from its blowhole. And Finizen, art-wise, is really giving off a lot of Lisa Frank vibes. We've got an uncommon trainer Pokemon tool, Lucky Helmet. If the Pokemon this card is attached to is in the active spot and is damaged by an attack from your opponent's Pokemon, even if this Pokemon is knocked out, draw 2 cards. And we've got an uncommon dark type stage 1 evolution Pokemon Mightyena with 120 HP. 1 dark energy lets it use Hunting Pack, 30 damage plus. If Mightyena is on your bench, this attack does 90 more damage. For 1 dark type and 1 colorless energy, Corner, 60. During your opponent's next turn, the defending Pokemon can't retreat. It's weak against grass type with no resistance, retreat cost of 1, and the Pokedex entry reads, once it's caught the scent of faraway prey, the leader gives a signal and the whole pack moves out. We've got another Revavroom here. We've got a common grass type basic Pokemon Illumise, 1 colorless for slowing Perfume. You could use this attack only if you go second and only during your first turn. Shuffle one of your opponent's bench Pokemon and all attached cards into their deck. 1 grass and 1 colorless lets you do Glide for 30 damage, weak against fire with no resistance and retreat cost of 1. Pokedex entry reads, it guides Volbeat to draw signs in the night sky. There are scholars who research the meaning of these signs. This is a reverse holo here. We've got a common fighting type basic Pokemon Timber with 80 HP, 1 fighting energy for best punch, dealing 40 damage, flip a coin, if tails the attack does nothing. Weak against Psychic, no resistance, retreat cost of 2, and the Pokedex entry reads, it fights by swinging a piece of lumber around. It is close to evolving when it can handle the heavy lumber without difficulty. And this is one of our reverse holos as well. And finally, we've got our holographic rare fighting type basic Pokemon Okidogi, 130 HP. It's got the ability Adrena Power. If this Pokemon has any dark type energy attached, it gets plus 100 HP, and the attacks it uses do 100 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon before applying weaknesses and resistance. For 2 fighting type, you get Good Punch for 70 damage. It's weak against Psychic type, no resistance, and a retreat cost of 2. Pokedex entry reads, Okidogi is a ruffian with a short temper. It can pulverize anything by swinging around the chain on its neck. And this is our holo card, so let's take a look at that. So moving on, we've got our second to last pack here. Let's see what we've got. Alright, so let's see what we pull here. We've got our basic Steel Energy, Glimmet, Caretaker, Lampent, Poltergeist, Florges, Festival Grounds, Glamora, Goldeen, Full Art Foil Timber, Alakazam, another one. So for our closer look, we've got our basic Steel Energy. We've got a common fighting type Pokemon here, basic Glimmet, 60 HP, 1 fighting for Rock Shoot, dealing 30 damage, and discard an energy card from this Pokemon. Weak against Grass, no resistance, and retreat cost of 1. Pokedex entry for this one reads, Glimmet's toxic mineral crystals look just like flower petals. This Pokemon scatters poisonous powder, like pollen, to protect itself. Basic Trainer Supporter card, Caretaker. Draw 2 cards. If you drew any cards in this way, and if Community Center is in play, shuffle this Caretaker into your deck instead of discarding it. We've got a common Fire type Stage 1 Evolution Pokemon Lampent. 1 Fire for Live Cold, dealing 20 damage. 1 Fire, 1 Colorless for Burn It All Up, dealing 60 damage. Discard all energy cards from this Pokemon. Weak against water, no resistance, retreat cost of 1. Pokedex entry reads, the spirits it absorbs fuel its baleful fire. It hangs around hospitals, waiting for people to pass on. So here we've got a common grass type basic Pokemon Poltergeist with 30 HP. Now this is a different Poltergeist than the one that we pulled earlier. This one has an ability called Storehouse Hideaway. As long as this Pokemon is on your bench, prevent all damage from and effects of attacks from your opponent's Pokemon done to this Pokemon. For 1 grass energy, you can use Hook for 10 damage, weak against fire, no resistance, retreat cost of 1. And the Pokedex entry reads exactly like the other one, so even though it's a different card, same Pokedex entry. We've got an uncommon Psychic type Stage 2 Evolution Florges, 140 HP. It's got the ability Captivating Invitation. Once during your turn, you may flip a coin. If heads, switch in one of your opponent's bench Pokemon to the active spot. The new active Pokemon is now confused. For 1 Psychic and 1 Colorless, it can use Magical Shot for 120 damage. It's weak against Steel with no resistance and a retreat cost of 2. Its Pokedex entry reads, they say that flower gardens created by Florges are constantly showered with a power that can heal both body and spirit. Here we've got an uncommon trainer stadium card, Festival Grounds. Each Pokemon that has any energy attached, both yours and your opponent's, recovers from all special conditions and can't be affected by any special conditions. We've got Glamora that we've pulled before. We've got a common water type basic Pokemon Goldeen with 50 HP. Goldeen has the ability Festival Lead, so if Festival Grounds is in play, this Pokemon may use an attack it has twice. If the first attack knocks out your opponent's active Pokemon, you may attack again after your opponent chooses a new active Pokemon. 2 Colorless lets it use Whirlpool for 10 damage. Flip a coin. If heads, discard an energy from your opponent's active Pokemon. Goldeen is weak against Electric with no resistance and a retreat cost of 1. Its dorsal, pectoral, and tail fins wave elegantly in water. That is why it's known as the water dancer. And this is a reverse holo, so we got this beautiful little watery, shimmery effect for Goldeen, very fitting as it dances through the water. And here we've got a gold star rare, or I think it's a special illustration rare basic fighting type Pokemon Timber with 80 HP. And this does the same thing as the other one that we pulled before. Everything else is the same, but the art is definitely a cut above. We got this full holographic effect here. Beautiful card. And then finally we have our Alakazam holofoil here, just like we had before. Alright, here we go. Last pack. Let's open this bad boy up. See, we started off with a good one with the Dragapult on the art. Let's see if we can kind of replicate that. So let's see what we've got here. Basic Psychic Energy, Varoom, a Wattrel, Volbeat, Goldeen, this time a regular print, Cook, Palafin, Tatsugiri, Morpeko, Lampent, and we've got this Cornerstone Mask Ogerpon EX. Nice. So let's round this out by taking a closer look at what we pulled. We got our basic Psychic Energy. We have a common steel type basic Pokemon Varoom, 70 HP with 1 colorless for metal coating, which allows you to attach a basic steel energy card from your discard pile to this Pokemon, or for 1 steel and 2 colorless you can use Ram for 50. It's got a weakness to fire, resistance to grass -30, retreat cost of 2. Pokedex entry for this reads, the steel section is Varoom's actual body. This Pokemon clings to rocks and converts the minerals within into energy to fuel its activities. We've got a common electric type basic Pokemon Wattrel, 60 HP, 1 electric for Thundershock, dealing 10 damage, flip a coin, if heads your opponent's active Pokemon is now paralyzed, weak against electric, resistance to fighting -30, retreat cost of 1, Pokedex entry that reads, these Pokemon make their nests on coastal cliffs. The nests have a strange crackling texture, and they are a popular delicacy. We've got a common grass type basic Pokemon Volbeat with HP of 70 for 1 colorless. Quick sign, if you go first you can use this attack during your first turn. Search your deck for up to 2 basic Pokemon and put them into your bench. Then shuffle your deck. For 2 colorless, you can do Coordinated Strike 20+. If Illumise is on your bench, this attack does 60 more damage. Weak against fire, no resistance, retreat cost of 1. Pokedex entry reads, it flashes the light on its rear to communicate with other Volbeat. It loves the sweet aroma given off by Illumise. We've got another Goldeen, we just pulled this in the last pack. That's a reverse holo, but this one's regular. We've got a uncommon trainer supporter card, Cook, heal 70 damage from your active Pokemon. It's quite a sandwich he's got going on there. We've got an uncommon water type stage 1 evolution Palafin at 100 HP. It's got the ability 0 to Hero with quite a bit of text here. Once during your turn, when this Pokemon moves from the active spot to your bench, you may search your deck for a Palafin EX and switch it with this Pokemon. Any attached cards, damage counters, special conditions, turns in play, and any other effects remain on the new Pokemon. If you switch the Pokemon in this way, put this card into your deck. Then shuffle your deck. For 1 water and 1 colorless, you can use Wave Splash, dealing 30 damage. It's got weakness to electric, no resistance, and a retreat cost of 1. Pokedex entry reads, its physical capabilities are no different than a Finizen's, but when its allies are in danger, it transforms and powers itself up. We've got an uncommon dragon type basic Pokemon, Tatsugiri, 70 HP. It's got the ability Attract Customers. Once during your turn, if this Pokemon is in the active spot, you may look at the top 6 cards of your deck, reveal a supporter card you find there, and put it into your hand. Shuffle the other cards back into your deck. For 1 fire and 1 water, you can use Surf for 50 damage. This has no weaknesses, resistance, and a retreat cost of 1. Pokedex entry reads, Tatsugiri is an extremely cunning Pokemon. It feigns weaknesses to lure in prey, then orders its partner to attack. What a bossy little guy there. And we've got another Morpeko, but this one is a reverse holo. So we'll just take a look at that. Here we've got another repeat as well with the Slampent, but this one is a reverse holo. So again, we'll just take a look at that shine. And then finally, last card of the bunch, we have this double black star fighting type basic Pokemon Cornerstone Mask Ogerpon EX, 210 HP with the ability Cornerstone Stance. Prevent all damage from attacks done to this Pokemon by your opponent's Pokemon that have an ability. For 1 fighting and 2 colorless, you can do Demolish, dealing 140 damage. This attack's damage isn't affected by weakness or resistance or by any effects on your opponent's active Pokemon. It's weak against grass with no resistance, and it has a retreat cost of 1. And let's just take a closer look at the foil or holographic printing on this guy. Again, this is kind of like that first one we got with the Dragapult, where only like the little motion lines and the sparkles and certain little pieces of the crystal are really shined up, and then you got this kind of more glittery matted metallic finish here in the text box. I'm curious, which ones did you like? Did you see your favorite Pokemon pulled here? Cards that you love playing with? Cards that you hate playing against? Or ones that you just think are really well done artistically? What are your thoughts? Let me know down below in the comments, of course. I want to check that out. So I kind of want to try something. I want to try to total up, the value according to this date, market price, what TGC Player says the value of these packs was. So this is the first pack that included the Dragapult EX. We got the second pack here that had the Alakazam and the special illustration Eevee. Pack 3, which had the Carmine. Pack 4, which had the Sinestro EX. Pack 5, which had the Hisuian Arcanine. Pack 6, which had the Infernape. Pack 7 with the Okidogi. Pack 8 with the Alakazam and the special illustration Timber. And then Pack 9, the final pack that had our Cornerstone Mask Ogerpon EX. So I'll put the, I'll kind of total up what we've got here. These are just from the boosters. So overall, I mean, like, the purpose of this video wasn't to sit here and evaluate, the value or the cost or anything like that, but just for a little insight. I picked up the Pokemon Scarlet and Violet Twilight Masquerade Elite Trainer Box here for about $40 USD at my local game store. And just a quick glance at tcgplayer.com here with the market value currently at this moment in time. With the cards that I pulled from the boosters, I did exceed what I paid for the box itself. Again, monetary return isn't always, the only judge of what makes something cool or fun or, worth it for you or whatever the case may be. And I kind of think that's part of what makes Pokemon pretty special, is you can have your favorite Pokemon and they may not be the highest dollar amount cards or anything like that. Even if you're just collecting for fun, just because you like the characters, you like certain Pokemon, you have your favorites, you can have special art prints or illustration styles for those Pokemon as well. I think you could find something really cool, and what's awesome is sometimes the ones that look really cool don't even cost as much as others that have the same kind of illustration treatment. So as an example, this Cornerstone Mask Ogerpon EX, it's a really cool looking card, and if this is your favorite Pokemon or you just really like the art style, you can go ahead and snag that for your collection for not much. And that's if we're just looking at the collecting side. If you're playing with this, if you're playing with Ogerpon, like, this is going to serve you very well. That Eevee special illustration that we saw there, that currently is a market value around $40, but the Timber full art special illustration card currently has got a market value of about $2.27. So if you like the art style, if Timber is your favorite, you can pick them up. And I mean, like, I love Alakazam, and I pulled 2 Alakazams in this, so I'm pretty pumped on that. And then, yeah, depending on how you play your deck and stuff, you might even have a bunch of cards that come in at a lower entry price and all that stuff. And something that I really do like is how they do the reverse holos for some of the common and uncommon cards as well, because it really does kind of elevate them and make them look a lot cooler, and they're very accessible as well. So you don't have to have the most rare or, you know, most expensive collection or whatever to have just very cool looking cards that will look good in your binder or however you want to display them, or in your deck even. But if you are looking at value, because I know, you know, you got to kind of watch the budget a little bit. For me, I lucked out. I was able to get a return on value even with just the boosters, and that doesn't count kind of everything else I was able to get as well. Some people might not put too much value on the extras, and, you know, for me, I really like kind of getting all this stuff. I think it's a pretty cool price point for the experience, even of just getting to kind of open all this and go through it. It's pretty exciting. It's pretty entertaining. I can definitely think of a lot less fun ways that I've spent the same amount of money, even if you remove the more valuable, you know, individual cards. So with that said, I'm probably going to go ahead and at some point pick up some more of these Elite Trainer boxes from probably older sets and go through those. I know that was a bit of a ride. I know kind of, you know, took a little bit of time. I like kind of wandering through the cards and exploring them, especially because, again, I've been away from some of the sets for so long that a lot of it's new to me. So thanks for kind of hanging out with me, going through that and just meandering through everything together. I really am curious, like I've said many times, you know, on your thoughts on some of the cards here, or, you know, the boxes themselves, the set itself. So please, yes, comment down below. Let me know what's up. I really hope you enjoyed this, and if so, you know, go ahead and leave that like, please. That helps me know that we like this. That helps YouTube know. At some point here in the future, I'm gonna release that booster pack opening that I mentioned that I opened previously, but I just haven't put out yet because I did this one first. So in it, it'll be kind of funny because it's my first time opening a booster pack, a Pokemon booster pack on here. So it'll be like a little bit of time travel. That's always kind of fun, right? And yeah, so when I put out these videos, if you want to get notified of that, go ahead and please subscribe. You'll get the notification for when new videos come out. Check me out on the socials, on Instagram as well as TikTok. That's at CasualTCGstuff for those sneak peeks on kind of what's coming up. I hope you had fun and enjoyed this. Thanks for hanging out with me. So get out there and have some fun with trading card games with your friends. See ya.